And from Los Angeles, the Honorable John Ziegler. And John Ziegler, welcome again to the Bill Cunningham Show.
Bill, always a pleasure to speak with you.
I, of course, understand that you've read the book of Sarah Palin. But before I get to Sarah, I want to spend some time with you this evening. Before I get to Sarah Palin, HowObamaGotElected.com, I just had a caller about an hour ago who said, is anyone putting together the lies and eviscerations of Barack Hussein Obama as far as what he promised? Like $2,500 reduction in health care premiums, no tax increases, a balanced budget, not signing a bill with earmarks. Every bill's on the Internet 5 days before I sign it. Is anyone chronicling the errors, liars, and fabrications and omissions of Obama like they would have done with George Bush?
If they have, I've missed it. It would make a great third documentary for me, except for the fact that it would be impossible to know when to release it because you continually have more and more lies almost every single week. So you almost have to wait until his administration is over, as well as HowObamaGotElected.com. I've also purchased, although we haven't done anything with it yet, What If Bush Had Done It? .com, which I think is another interesting comparison when you consider all the things that Bush was criticized for, that Barack Obama has done worse and gets no criticism whatsoever. It's funny on one level, Bill, but as you know, there's also a very, very serious and dangerous side to this as well.
Well, can you imagine if the president, George Bush, had given the Queen of England an iPod containing videos of his speeches? Or if President Bush had given Prime Minister Gordon Brown a set of inexpensive and incorrectly formatted DVDs that doesn't work in England? I mean, how about the teleprompter incidents of it breaking and falling down? What if George Bush had done those things or had taken Laura Bush to New York City on a $100,000 date on Air Force One?
Thus, what if Bush had done it.com. But Bill, I think what you're getting at is, and I harp on this issue all the time, and unfortunately conservatives and Republicans don't seem to understand this, is that in this day and age, it's all about the narrative. And unfortunately, we've allowed the news media to create a narrative about Barack Obama that he's not capable of doing anything stupid because he's not stupid. He's obviously incredibly intelligent and educated, and my God, he's almost messianic. Of course, we also allowed the news media to create a narrative about George Bush that he was a doofus, that he was an elitist, that he was incompetent, that he didn't care about black people, and so on and so on. And this is why I'm a big believer, and I know you agree with me on this, that you've got to fight each and every battle because every time you lose one, it sticks on our side.
You know, John Ziegler, one time Obama went to New Orleans. He spoke to 90 minutes, then went to play a round of golf, and then went to a fancy dinner and left New Orleans. If Bush had done that, if Bush had been in New Orleans once in 9 years, he would hate black people.
No, you're 1,000% right, and this is why the news media is so important. And it sounds like we're a broken record harping on it, but each and every American needs to know, not just liberals and conservatives, but those ignorant independent voters in the middle that decide elections, that what they're seeing, what they're reading, and what they're hearing is not to be believed. It's to be mistrusted, and you're not to buy in to these bogus narratives that are put out there for a political agenda, almost always in the liberal direction.
Well, let's talk about Sarah Palin, then we'll come back maybe to your buddy Barack Hussein Obama. The book is out. I'm supposed to have her on next Sunday. Of course, I was going to have her on 2 days after she was selected in Dayton, Ohio, and then the McCain forces got her off my show, and so because they didn't like me. So we'll find out what happens next Sunday. But you've read the book. What impresses you about the book, Going Rogue?
Well, I was really kind of stunned, Bill, at how good it is. I mean, I'm well known as a Sarah Palin defender. I did the documentary film Media Malpractice, How Obama Got Elected and Palin Was Targeted, which features an exclusive interview with her, and I've interviewed her a couple of times. And, you know, I've stayed in touch with her and Todd and the Palin Brain Trust over the last year and gotten to know them fairly well. But this was a remarkable achievement, this book. This is 413 pages done in 3 months by a woman who just had the most difficult year and a half of anybody I've ever heard of. And the book is really tremendous. It's numerous books in one. It's an amazing biography. It's a campaign tell-all. It's a critique of the news media. It's a philosophical, political manifesto, if you will. It's also very funny at times. It's very insightful. She's brutally honest, not just about calling people out about who did what during the campaign, but with herself as well. I've never seen a political memoir that has so many things in there that could be seen as negative towards the writer, but she is confident enough, courageous enough to put it all in there and just let the chips fall where they may. It's an extraordinary read, and the news media coverage of it, surprise, surprise, Bill, has not been remotely fair or accurate in describing it.
Well, what did she say about her relationship with John Sidney McCain?
Well, she is very, very, and I know this from personal experience, very protective of her relationship with John McCain. There's some reports out tonight, and again, I don't believe them because they come from biased media sources, that John McCain is disappointed with the book. Apparently, Governor Palin sent him a copy that was signed personally by her, but he is spoken of very highly in the book. She really does, honestly, have a great deal of admiration for John McCain. Now, she is incredibly critical of the McCain campaign, specifically Steve Schmidt and Nicole Wallace, as well as the way the campaign was run and things like you just referenced there of her not being allowed to do much of anything that was outside of her specific orders, doing things like doing an interview with Bill Cunningham, which, of course, would have been a great idea, and she tried desperately to try to do those things. And, in fact, at the end of the book, Bill, she points out several members of, I guess what you call her favored media members, and your name is on that list. So she clearly was trying very hard to get her message out and was frustrated by her own side, which tells you pretty much everything you need to know about the Republican Party these days.
You know,